Hey Paris. Good start here. All your caricature's really coming together quite well. I really like the way the objects are relating to each other. So usually during these feedbacks, I try to show you stuff plus give you feedback. So the first thing that really helps when you're trying to do these masks and stuff is to add just a layer of white. Then it really allows you to really look at your masks and how to improve them. Your masks look really quite good. So, cool. Yeah, they look good. So one thing that I do always at first is I try to group layers and organize them. I know you have a lot of extra layers, which is fine actually. This is actually kind of how I work. I do a lot of copies of layers, so I have stuff to work with. So what I'm going to do is put all your caricature layers in a folder. So I'm selecting all of them, and then I'm hitting this little icon here, and then it's putting them all in a folder. So I'm going to call them Dan, because it's garbage dump Dan, I guess, right? So then you can do stuff like move it. You can move the whole the whole thing around. You can size it. You're probably going to want to overall make this a little smaller because you're going to put a background and you're going to have to fit some stylized text into the negative space. So, again, you can use the free transform tool, and if you hold the shift key down, it will constrain the proportions. You can drag them in. You can do this later too. It's not like, but it just really helps to, start thinking about how you're gonna, go forward with this. So some thoughts on some of the objects. I've already mentioned that I know you love this fork, but it looks really new, and the CDs look a little bit new too. So it's kind of making it look a little bit, I know that it's garbage objects, but they don't. The only thing that really looks garbagey is the shoe that you took. So you might want to think of some ways to either get other objects or there's ways that you can make this fork look tarnished. So I'm just going to go and show you a few things, and again, it just depends on how much time you want to put in, but there's a lot of ways to create kind of a rusty effect. And again, I can post the links. It's not that hard to create. This is completely created in Photoshop. Here's another another way to create it. And there's so many rust textures. So again, you might want to have a look at some of these. And here's another rust texture that's added to text. So, and again, here's stuff like that. Another thing you could do too is there's this too, and then there's looking at some of this metallic textures, and you have to kind of look around a little bit, but this is a pretty where is it? This is a pretty easy one to do, and it totally goes into how to do it. And it kind of does make it look a little rough, around the edges. And what you can do is if you were to do this with the fork, you can turn the opacity down so still the fork is coming through. Here's some other kind of tarnished looking stuff. So there's a lot of options for that because it's going to be kind of essential to get those objects looking kind of tarnished. Another thing I was thinking is that this is like this straw. I think that if you worked a little, just looked a little bit around, you could probably find a lot of other objects that would, kind of fit in and be as interesting as the rest of the objects. So, I don't know. So I just, banana peel, that banana peel looks old. You just want to really drive the point home that it's, that it's garbage. What else did I look at? Crumpled tin can. You can't use this one because it has the watermark, but there's a lot of, really rusty cans, and even something like that, you can see a little bit clearer. Yeah, just make sure you don't. There's so many of these that are Shutterstock. That's really kind of funny. Usually there's not that many. What's this one? Yeah, this one also has a watermark. But anyway, just some ideas. I mean, there's so many garbage things. You know, it just takes a little bit of just looking around for it. That one's funny, but it also has a watermark. Okay, and here's Rusted Can. There's a kind of more. I mean, that's from Reddit, but that's kind of cool looking. You know, here's another one. So again, you could easily insert a can here that really, you know, looked more rusted. I mean, it's crumpled, but you almost can't see it because it's so dark. So just think of color contrast. So again, you can, you know, oh, there's a whole like garbage can thing. So, you know, those are cool too. So again, just, you know, just takes a little bit of searching, and the better you can put keywords in, you know, that one's okay, but it's got the watermark again. The better you can put keywords in, the more, you know, the more results you have. So I'm just was kind of showing you some of the keywords that I put in. I mean, anything with rust, you could probably find. I mean, that's pretty cool too. I mean, you can find a lot of kind of old, rusty, you know, and another thing I thought too is that you might want to also maybe have another angle of a shoe someplace. You can make it kind of smaller. And again, I searched out old shoe. And again, there's just, well, that has the watermark. You can't, yeah, you have to look around for that. But there's kind of a lot of different angles. And I really like your boot, actually. But again, if you look at different angles, you know, this has a couple different angles. And, you know, that's what makes, you know, makes the design look interesting, is to show some variety in different angles. You know, that's kind of cool. But again, you have to make sure to turn the, you know, the tools on, and you have to make sure that you get the size like larger than, you know, 2 megapixels or something. And again, you know, stuff like that. So again, I mean, it just takes a little bit of research, but that's exactly what you're going to do in the design industry, is to keep, you know, and I would keep your shoe, and I would just look to see if I could add something to complement it. I mean, forget the dog, but the shoe's like funny. You know, so again, so if you, you know, put keywords in like, let's say rust, you're going to get all these textures again. Well, that's kind of cool, that that wood, but rusty objects. So there again, you've got a lot more objects too, and this is also to keep in mind for when you add your background. Well, that's cool, all those bolts. So anyway, just some ideas about, you know, just, I mean, you don't have to make everything look super old, but it is good to have a little bit of variety. And, you know, this looks kind of new. This, you know what I would do too? I wonder if there's like I wonder if you put like CD. Oh, that's kind of cool. So anyway, oh, whatever, what's that? Oh, that's kind of cool. So anyway, I mean, there's just like so many possibilities, and I don't even mean to change yours, or maybe just change one of them. And again, these are good. This is good research for your background as well. So, yeah, not that one. You want one that kind of looks authentic, because you know, it's so easy to make it look like corny. What's that one? Yeah, I don't know. CDs are tough because, you know, they're just, you know, they don't really, they can look old, but they mostly this just looks like somebody added these cracks. It doesn't really look all that authentic. So you may want to just search for some different, you know, different kinds of objects as well. I love this, you know, and think of color. Like you have, you pretty much have this cool green, but it'd be good to have some color elsewhere. So that's why, you know, that one crumpled Coke can or a rusty can could also work. You know, you might want to think of using something else, like even here too. That it doesn't quite fit in. Oh yeah, another thing that I was going to tell you, if you look again, Google image search for like, you know, broken doll leg. you know, you can find some, you know, kind of weird legs that could, you know, that could work to go with that shoe, because that shoe looks really cool. If it had something that looked a little bit more, you know, fitting, other than like kind of a stick. None of these really came out. Maybe just doll leg. Huh. Yeah, those kind of look old too. So you just have to kind of use your, you know, discretion as to what looks old, or, you know, these all look kind of old. You know, again, you could say like old doll leg. It's all about, you know, the keyword searches. Even something like a baby in there, like, that's strange. So anyway, you kind of know what I'm getting at. So because it already has such a cool personality, I would just, you know, I mean, I love this. I would love to just see it looking a little rusty. You could also bend one of those tarnished forks with the warp tool or the puppet warp. That could also work too. So that could kind of be an idea. So anyway, yeah, let me know if you have any questions. I think it's looking really good. I just think that, you know, just a few more interesting, you know, objects to, you know, to really move the eye around with color, and again, making it kind of look a little old, and kind of integrating some of these, you know, the straws, because they're so skinny. And again, you could use, you know, the tools of perspective, you know, and make this bottle look a lot bigger. Where is it? It's the bottle, broken bottle. You know, because again, objects that are bigger will look closer, and that also works to add some depth as well. But again, yeah, yeah. So nice job, and let me know if you have any questions. You know, contact me on Hangouts anytime for feedback or help with anything, and happy to help. Okay.